Welcome to the Millennial Network Podcast. Now your host, Coach Danny Renee.
What's up, y'all? This is your girl, Coach Danny Renee, and this is the Millennial Network Podcast. We have here Hansome Kelly. Now, something interesting about Hansome, we're going to get into Forex trading and all of that, but we actually met on Instagram, aka that's the point of this whole podcast, is networking, right? We met on Instagram, and it's funny because I've never met this guy in person. We live like within the same city, so it's crazy. But I seen him crushing the game, just with Forex and Hansome. So first of all, I remember one of the things I said in your inbox. I was like, "All right, Kelly." I completely ignored the handsome part because I'm like, okay, maybe he's calling himself handsome, and So Hansome is your real name.
Yeah, that's my government name.
That's your government name?
Yep, my government birth name.
Government birth name. I got it. So did your parents tell you like why they named you Hansome?
Oh yeah, so my mom named me, and on my mom's side, I'm her only boy, and she always said if she was to ever have a boy, he would be handsome. So
really?
That's the reason why. Yeah, like literally, that's what she
Wow.
said. So that's why my name is Hansome.
Got it. Are people usually thrown off when you introduce yourself?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's definitely a conversation starter, right? Because for starter, like I feel like it's the way of like breaking the ice. Like you tell someone your name is Handsome, oh no, it's not, and you get more in depth with that as well. So yeah, it works.
So I know you have a fiance now. Did they give you
Right.
problems in like the dating game to where women like, oh, he cocky or something?
No. We actually started dating in my early 20s.
Okay.
So majority of my 20s was pretty much with her. So
Okay.
it did it. And then also we met in high school. So that also
Okay.
added to that.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, hey, that's good because you were able to avoid all this craziness in this dating game nowadays. People are
Yeah,
weird.
I see it.
Big time
It's
weird.
something, yeah.
So tell me your story. You're in Forex now. How did you get into Forex? Like, where are you originally from? Like, who is Hansome?
Well, I'm originally from South Jamaica, Queens, New York. Born and
Okay.
raised. I actually moved out here last year. Last year in 2020, we made the leap and came out here. But what got me actually into it? Well, growing up, I always wanted to be like Warren Buffett, right? So also, I'm from a single parent household. So we obviously didn't have money, and I didn't realize how poor we were until like as I got older, and then like just looking back and just noticing certain things. Like for starters, sometimes we would have like the lights would go off, and it wouldn't be a common thing, but it's like, okay, lights are off tonight. Like it happens.
Wow.
So like little stuff like that, or just certain things I would eat. And it's like you shouldn't be eating that for dinner, or just like over and over and over. So yeah, I always wanted to like Warren Buffett. My mom, she would take us to school in the morning, and before we would always watch New York One. So that's a news station, and on it they'll have like periodically they'll show their finances, what's going on, and money. So I will always hear Warren Buffett's name. Now, I know that he got his money through stocks. That was like the main thing. I didn't know about stocks, but I just know he got his money through that. So as I got older, I started doing a network marketing company. And my main reason for that, I mean, obviously I wanted to reach as many people as possible, but also the residual, right? That's mainly
Right.
the reason why people get into network marketing.
Right.
So with the
That's the
residual,
sale.
with the residual, I figured I would use that income to go into the stock market, and then eventually I become Warren Buffett. That was like my main thing with that. So as I was getting better with this network marketing company, I noticed that my upline was on Facebook, so I just followed him. And mainly the reason why is because I figured success leaves clues, right? If this is my upline, he knows something that my upline doesn't know to get to where he's at.
Right.
So I followed him on Facebook. Started like just paying attention to things that he's doing, and he kept posting different charts about Forex. But I didn't know it was Forex at that time. So the ticker, it would say something like USD/JPY. And I'm like, what is that? So I actually asked him one day, I said, hey, what exactly are you doing? He said he's trading currencies. I'm like, what? He says Forex. I'm like, what? So from there, he put me on to it. And then a lot of trial and error, a lot of, pay for this, pay for things that was pretty much BS. Some things that worked, some things that didn't. I utilized what did. Worked with a lot of mentors, finally got what worked for me. And then from there, I'm currently where I'm at now.
Nice. So were all your mentors like within the company, or did you like
No,
seek
no.
mentors outside of the company as well?
Yeah, I seek mentors out. So it was this group that a lot of new traders at that time were into. And then from there, I just like watched who was killing. Right? I saw someone make 40,000 a day, and that blew my mind because I'm like at that time, I think I wasn't making 40K in a year. So I'm like, this guy just made what I'm making more than what I'm making a year. He did that in a day. I was like, I got to learn from him. So he put me on. He had like a small group. We were all into that. So, and I'm gonna be honest, my first year and a half of trading, it was really luck. Like I had some good success, but it was 100% luck. Like as looking back, I was doing a lot of things you shouldn't be doing, right? Like listen to other people trades. I was just blindly following that. Didn't really have a trading plan, so I'm just like jumping in the market, trying to avoid FOMO, little stuff like that that you should avoid as an actual trader who's trying to succeed. I was just doing it, but I was getting lucky. So eventually, I had an account. My first 2 years, I blew 36K, and that was
Man.
a lot, obviously. So again, I did not want to be an employee though. That was like my
Right.
main thing. So left my job at that time,
What were
and
you
from there,
doing?
I was working at after school program. So
Okay.
I was working at after school program. And I was doing so good that the actual school itself had hired me. So I would work for the school in the morning, and then in the afternoon I would work for the after school program. Because the kids like they just like geared towards me. And the school saw that like these kids they listened to me, and it was more about like I could just connect with them, right? Because everyone there was just like older, and also I didn't go to college, right? So that had a lot to do with it. So I wasn't telling the kids not to go to college, but I was letting them know like if you're going to take the college route for a reason. Don't just take it because like that's just the route that everyone's telling you to take, right? So just little stuff like that, and then like again, like I'll become a mentor to the kids. So things that I wish I had as a mentor at that age, I would just give it to them. So I was hired with the school, but yeah, I quit my job and I was telling my mom like, hey, like I'm gonna go all in with this. I went broke.
Man.
Yeah, blew my account over and over, man. But I started doing Uber, and
Okay.
mainly the reason for me doing Uber is like I can be in control of my time, right? So I can drive whenever I want to. I can come back and study. I can check the charts, and then from there I just kept doing it over and over, and I finally was able to build my account, and I was able to take off from there.
I love it. I love it. So you said 36,000? You blew through it?
Yeah,
Did you blow
yeah.
through it like with
Not all at
trading or
once.
just
No,
like
this is
random
traded.
buying
This,
like
this
buying
is
things?
no, this is all traded. This is all
Okay.
traded. Yeah.
So blew through it just making terrible trading choices.
Yeah, it was. I remember one day I lost 16K one night, and it was like looking back, it was so idiotic. Like I remember I was just watching the trade, like I was doing things you shouldn't be doing, like just watching the money go up and down. That's adding to your emotions, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you want to stay away from that. So I'm watching it, and I was having a conversation with one of my friends. We was outside of his house, and I remember it vividly because we were talking. I'm looking at my phone. I'm just watching numbers go down and down and down for how much I'm losing, and I was just like trying to be engaged with it as well. But yeah, so for the first 2 years, I've lost that as a total.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fair. So what? Wait. So let me ask you this first before I ask the question. Because you mentioned like network marketing, and I do know that there's I think a couple network marketing companies nowadays that are doing like forex and crypto and different things like that. Are you still with the company right now, or are you
No,
independent?
no. So let me go back. Well, I can say the name. The company that I was with was Wake Up Now, so it had
Okay,
nothing to do with trading at all. The
gotcha.
companies, I'm a retail trader. So retail trader means someone who trades for themselves. Everyone is actually retail trader if you're not actually licensed. But I don't work for no type of company. I'm all independent. Everything I do is with my own personal money and go from there.
Gotcha. That's fair. So what are your thoughts on the companies now that are doing like forex, cryptos, and whatnot?
I'm 100% not a fan of those companies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to call a network marketing company a scam. I just feel like to charge someone a monthly fee to quote unquote learn how to trade, I don't think that's beneficial. I don't think that's the right way. And then on top of that too, majority of the people who are there, what they're doing, they're selling a lifestyle, right? So now it's like they're not buying, renting these cars, going to like different hotels, and people are getting more towards that. And then from there, they're like motivating them to like, oh, like you're gonna win all this stuff, and it's like, motivation is great, but if you're not going to show me how to make money over and over in the long run, I don't need to be here. Right. And then on top of that, too, if you're really making the money you said you'd make it, you're not going to be in a network marketing company. That's 100%. You're not going to. So.
Wow,
yeah.
That's crazy. You know, that's an interesting perspective because I know that there's people in these industries that's, you know, legit killing it. And sometimes they may be killing it to the point that they do retire. Or they decide to, if they're that still ambitious person where they're like, I want to achieve more in life, they may take their money and then invest in, you know, other businesses. Now, when it comes to these companies, I think what people fail to realize is that when you do, because I'm a fan of network marketing companies.
Yeah, same, 100%.
You know,
100%.
Right? Because it's like you pay a very low entry. If you're lucky enough to have great mentorship, which I think people should really seek great mentors if they're a fan of these companies.
Agreed.
So if you're lucky enough to have great mentors, someone that's going to actually teach you entrepreneurship, you have to go out there and get bruised yourself, right? You got to,
100%.
you know, because that's how you learn. But at the end of the day, a company has to have a great product, right? And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head where you're like, the product really is just education. And I guess education and mentorship. And when it comes to platforms like those, you get into a situation where someone's not really selling you on strictly education and mentorship. And granted, I'm not in these platforms, so I don't really know how it 100% work. But they're not selling you on education and mentorship because I think majority of these organizations have someone teaching you what to do. They may have all the platforms online and different things like that, but they don't have someone actively teaching you. That, like you said, it's all more so like the lifestyle and different things. And most people aren't really driven by money like that, you know? Because you could put you can say, hey, I got the code to teach you exactly how to make $1 million right now. And most people are going to take that because it still requires work. People want the easy route, right?
Yeah.
So
it's funny. 3 things I want to make sure I cover as well. The first one is it's funny that people, they want the shortcut, but when you actually think about it, the shortcut is just doing the work. Like we avoid the work, but that's actually the shortcut. But besides that, though, I want to make this clear as well. I do have friends who are in those companies. They're high ranks, and what they're doing, they created their own mentorship, right? Because they actually know how to trade, and then they have their own personal students. But they're in the company, but technically they're using their own mentorship to teach those students how to actually trade.
Wow. I think that's golden on what you just said. Now, I had another podcast interview, which is really just separating the fluff away from actually running a business.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was on Clubhouse like earlier January this year, and you had some people that was just so against like network marketing companies, and then someone was just like, you know, hey, I made my millions through this, but they basically was just like, you know, times are changing now. And what most people don't have access to is they don't have someone teaching them how to actually run a business.
Yeah.
You know, because network marketing, that's just one form of marketing. You're marketing within your network.
Right.
Like we were talking like offline, your friends and family, most of the time they may be great practice, which is essentially why you meet with them first, right? They may be great practice, but they're usually not a strong network, because if you want to make hundreds or, you know, millions of dollars a year, you need a network that's trying to get the same thing, right? So we can grow up together, or we cannot, you know. So Forex. So tell me, what exactly is Forex?
So Forex is short for foreign exchange. It's foreign exchange market, which is the largest market in the world. It's the financial market which deals with the entire world, right? So the daily revenue at the time of recording this is roughly around like $8 trillion daily revenue. So that alone just shows you how much money you can actually make in the market. Now, so quickest definition of what Forex is let's say you hop on a plane, you go to Europe, right? And what you're going to do is, as soon as you land, you're in the airport, you're going to go to the nearest currency exchange place you see, right? You're going to exchange your dollars for their euros. That right there is Forex, right? And the one thing about it is that, like, let's say if you exchange your dollars for the euros, let's say it costs you $1.15 for €1, right? You do it on Monday. let's say you come back on Wednesday, it now costs you $1.20 for €1. That little 5 cents exchange, well, a little 5 cents increase in price, that's what us traders are trading. So we're trading the price change if it's going up or it's going down and so forth. So all it is the assumption that one currency will outvalue the other.
Okay, gotcha. So, like you're saying, like if I decide to go over to Europe versus like Mexico,
right?
Europe, my money may be a lot less compared to Europe
yeah.
versus if I go to Mexico based on like the pesos, right?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, but I guess so in hindsight, right? That's a simple form of Forex. Now, how do we get it onto our computers? Like, what am I doing on my computer?
Right. So the great thing about technology that it leveled the playing field. So foreign exchange, which was, those who were trading had to have like, 30, 40, $50,000 in their account or even more to trade with. Now we have access to technology and we have these brokers. So these broker accounts, what they allow you to do, they allow retail traders like myself to enter the market with their own capital, right? So then a quick way about this is this way. So let's say if you go to the casino, you can't just put your money and just like go to the table and say, I'm playing this hand. No, you have to go to whoever exchange your dollars for their coins, right? Once you get their coins, then you go to the table, you put it down and say, this is what I'm going to do. So a broker is the same exact thing. That's how you're able to get into it. So there's plenty of brokers you can choose from online. But what they do is they allow you to enter the market. So they allow you to buy and sell by going into it. So another thing as well when it comes to trading is all of this is actually free. Like everything when it comes to trading is free. Even myself, like what I do, I do sell services, and I know we'll probably get into that later. But again, what I teach my students how I read the markets. I teach my students what I look for, how to go for a buy or sell, how to create a trading plan, my expertise, and also my mentorship. Besides that, though, if someone's actually trying to become a trader themselves, they can just go to like a website like babypips.com or find it on YouTube and just like do it the free route, right? Again, it's going to take you longer, obviously because you're open to like everything is all over. A course or someone who has a mentorship is their whole expertise, and they teach you, from a tunnel vision, what they did and didn't do and learn. But besides that, piggybacking everything I just said. So as a trader, all you have to do is just open an account. You have to deposit your money into it, and then from there, you're able to trade.
Okay. Now, is there a minimum that somebody needs to start?
Well, I personally recommend $1,500 as a minimum. Some brokerage accounts allow you to open up something as small as like $10, which is really crazy. But again, I feel like that's also the reason why you keep hearing that like Forex is a scam, and it's mainly because like if I can open an account with like $100 and I have no idea what I'm doing, if I just throw money in the market and I lose it, obviously I'm going to think it's a scam. So right, you do need the mentorship with that, but or not even just mentorship, but just education alone. But yeah, you can open an account with like $10.
Okay, so do you feel like because of $1,500 that these people are putting a little bit more skin in the game, or they're a lot more serious versus someone doing like $10, $100? Is that why you say start with $1,500?
Well, first thing, yeah, that's one reason. But secondly, if you treat this like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby. If you treat it like a business, it's going to pay you like a business, right? Mm-hmm. So the average person, 78% of Americans, they don't even have $1,000 saved up. So if someone actually has $1,500 that they're putting into the actual market to trade, that right there, they're going to take it more serious, right? Because like it's your own personal money.
Right. And I think the challenge with so many people, especially like within this past almost going on 2 years or so, when it, let's just say 1.5 years, when COVID like really shut kind of the United States down or the world down, right?
Yeah.
Is that so many people getting stimulus checks and whatnot, and a lot of people have been, dabbling in the market, but also people are putting their savings in the market, which I'm just like, if you don't know what you're doing, like you saying, seek some type of mentorship or whatnot, you're essentially gambling.
100%.
So I highly don't recommend, like the comment you said, as far as like most people don't even have like $1,000, like that's something serious, but let alone you're going ahead and dabble in the market. So while these people are saving up to get to their emergency fund, and then this extra capital to have $1,500. What could I be doing in a process to where, hey, I know I want to get into Forex. I know you mentioned, of course, and we could talk about that a little bit later. But how can I set myself up to be in a good position to start trading? Like, I can learn Forex, but then is there something that I need to do as far as studying, I don't know, different economies or something?
Well, yeah, definitely. That comes in time as you do progress in the market. But like, again, the reason, so you have the stock market, right? So even with the stock market, you should not just jump into the stock market. Let's say you hear the news, Apple's going up, you jump into it. Like, that's not the smart suggestion. What you should do is learn why Apple is going up, right? What is the reason for it? Once you have that education idea, then from there you can have a more of an educated guess as to why would you enter, or why would you wait, and so forth, right? And the same thing with currency. So when it comes to stocks, I'm trading is based off the anticipation that the company is actually doing good, right? When it comes to Forex, it's anticipation that the country is doing good or the country is doing bad. So what you do want to do is, you do want to look up like GDP, you want to look up interest rates, you want to look up the PMI, you want to look up like a central bank, like their statements. These things that each country has, because that's going to affect their currency if it's going to go up or down or stay the same. So you definitely want to do your research on that.
Okay. Now we hear GDP a lot when, we hear it every year, right? And then we hear it often when presidents are running. And you said central banks or central banks? Central
banks.
Central? Is that your accent right there? Is it central?
Yeah, central banks. Is it? Can you hear me now?
No, I can hear you. I was just thinking about the accent. It did, you know how y'all New York people be. But so central banks GDP, right? Yeah. I can tell people all about it, but in the Forex space, explain to people what that is and why those are important. And you said,
it's extremely things. It's extremely important because, for starters, like, as the central bank, they are the ones who determine rates. They determine if they say if inflation is good, if inflation is bad, if we're going to remain the same. Are we going to increase interest? Are we going to lower it? Are we going to remain the same? So that affects the dollar, or it affects that actual country's currency. So it could be the euro, it could be the peso, the yen. Regardless, it affects that country's currency. That's important because, again, like if I hear that the country's currency is doing good and is strong, that right there, I would want to go with that currency. I want to trade with that. Why? Because, again, all these, all the information is coming out is showing me that it's a strong currency. So that gears with me more to want to trade with it.
Okay. So you would say that it's kind of smart to study the governments and like the different moves that they're making?
Not smart, it's needed. Right, so you have fundamentals, and then you have your technicals. So fundamentals is like the news, right? That's right there. And the other technicals is which it's just actually reading the chart. You have some traders and they only use fundamentals. Some traders only use technicals. I feel that you need to use both. And the reason why, because fundamentals, which is the news, because at the end of the day, the market moves with liquidity and money, right? It doesn't just move because the market wants to move, right? So with that, investors are going to put their money into the market based on what news is going on, right? So news, it lets you know when to get into the market. And the technical analysis, which is reading the chart, looking left to see where the market is going to go later in the future, that lets you know where the market is actually going. So you have to have a combination of both if you actually want to succeed in it.
Gotcha. Okay. So usually stocks and bonds, right? And it's crazy because so many people now, all they talk about is stocks, but they know nothing about bonds, right? Yeah. But in my space, in the financial space, we're taught, and you study history, that stocks and bonds typically have an inverse relationship. Stocks up, bonds down, and inverse.
Yeah, vice versa. Yeah.
Vice versa. So, you mentioned like the interest rates affecting like Forex currency.
Yes.
Is there something that creates an inverse relationship with Forex? That is worth studying? Stocks? No, just Forex in general.
In general, yes and no. So you have like obviously gold, right? So if gold is going up, the dollar is going down in inverse. Those are inverse relations. You have oil and UCAT, which is the Canadian dollar, United States dollar. So yes, you do want to learn and study these things as well. And again, the reason why, because these affect the actual currency. So anything that affects the currency, you need to study that. Now, some people feel as if like they have to like watch CNBC or Bloomberg for like 24/7, and that's not necessarily the case, because a lot of times things that are on as fluff, right? We both know that, like things that's on the news, it's to get the audience and the listener or whoever's viewing it just to like an idea of it, right? Sometimes they go in depth and they are biased, but you do want to be able to understand the language, right? Because if you can understand the language of certain things, you have an idea of how to study and how to move forward with that. Like myself. So what I did was I used to just watch CNBC every morning. So I watch that in the morning. I would like listen to like what they're saying, like interest. I didn't know what interest rates were at that time. I didn't know what GDP was. So just like little stuff like bullish, bearish, hawkish. So I was like, I didn't get it, but the more I watched it, and again, this is also, you want to be able to read it, right? Read between the lines. And by doing that, you have an idea of what that means and what it does and what is going to happen.
Gotcha. And I don't know if you hear it, my stomach is over here growling. Like, it's loud. So I'm like, I missed breakfast. Okay, good, because I missed breakfast. And I'm like, man, so audience, if y'all hear my stomach, that's I always miss breakfast.
I don't hear it. I don't hear it.
Great, awesome. So let me ask you this: as far as Forex, right? I did some studies before, and like when you mentioned as far as like studying the news and different things, so you got to do your research, and one of the main things I think that kind of hurts the New York Stock Exchange, that has always played the New York Stock Exchange, is insider trading, right? And what insider trading is that basically you have access to information before the public gets it, and then you react to that information. So the interesting part about that is that with everyone having access to so much information on the internet, and technical people there's still a huge need for technical people, but it's not enough people filling those needs, right? They're like, that's why if you get into IT technology, and you're really good at it, you can usually easily find a job, because there's more jobs than there are people that can fulfill the job. So with that being said, you have hackers, and there are actually people that's going out here hacking into these news stations. That the government has been hacked before, and I think something happened with Amazon, I think last year. Something happened with Twitter to where people are hacking, or they're giving this information to hackers, and then they're acting on this information, aka insider trading, or they're finding different ways to make money off of hacking into this. Now, do you feel like hacking can, or maybe that's not a silly question, but hacking can affect Forex, or has affected Forex, or have you ever researched any stories of hackers getting into a situation and then you were able to buy currency off of that?
Well, yes, but for the listeners, I don't want them to think that it's more the inside trading that we're used to, right? So the great thing about Forex is that, again, it's based off the currency. It's not based off actual individual business. So you have less manipulation within that, right? So you can say, like, earnings that are going to come out from Amazon, if it's doing good, it's going to affect the dollar. No, it's not normally the case, right? So inside trader is less than the things that affected. Oh, sorry. The things that do affect it, again, if president, a dictator, someone who's in a command of that country, if they come out and they say something, that right there will determine what's likely will happen. But again, it's so crazy how the fundamentals, it just works, and the technicals, how it just align together. And my reason for saying this is, I remember one time, this was years ago, I was watching the Flash, and the market should have been dropping. Like, the dollar should have been dropping, but it wasn't dropping. Then I remember it's because Trump came and interrupted it. So Trump came in, and Trump said he had a speech, and then after that, the dollar started dropping. So that just shows you how it both aligns together. So yeah, to answer your question fully, yes, there is manipulation. I think the whole markets are manipulated at the end of the day. There is manipulation, but it's less manipulated than let's say the stock market would be.
Gotcha. That's fair. Okay, that's some good info. So you mentioned Trump. Okay, and this is not like a pick size or anything, but I forgot to ask you, how long have you been trading for?
I've been trading for 5 years, going on 6.
5 years. Okay.
Yeah, full time for.
So that's actually perfect. So within that 5 years, you've had right now 2 presidents. So yeah. I know you said like your first year, a lot of it had to do with luck. And then you looking at Biden, he's kind of coming up on his first year in, presidency. Have you noticed some differences in both presidents being in office? Have one president so far favored the currency industry than another president?
Yeah, so here's the thing with that. From an economic standpoint, America is, I don't want to curse, but America is doomed. Let's just say that from an economic standpoint. We're printing so much money, and for some reason we're being told that it's not going to affect inflation, which is like, come on. Like, if we're printing all this money, obviously it's going to affect inflation. So things like that. But again, so people think of the economy as doing good, and they think that, well, they think the stock market is doing good, I mean the economy is doing good. That's not true. Right? The stock market is based off if you have, it's based off if companies are doing good. The economy is based off if you have a job. So I don't think that economy is doing good, but to answer your question fully when it comes to president-wise, both presidents have impacted the stock market as well as the forex market in a good way. Because again, like where the dollar is rising, it did tank a little bit, but it is starting to rise again. More so, it's just based off that individual, what they're really doing. But as of right now, it pretty much seems the same. Besides the fact that if you look at the numbers, the market is doing better under Biden. All right. And it's mainly because like we're hitting all-time highs. We were doing it under Trump as well. So we were getting more towards that. So yeah, that's to answer in full.
Okay. That's a fair question. I like how you did that because you was like, it's actually both. But the fact that the market is rising. Now, you mentioned that America is doomed, right? And if, like you said, the fact that we keep printing money. So we're constantly printing money. We're constantly devaluing the U.S. dollar. And then we hear this all the time that America is doomed. And then maybe eventually we say that our dollar cannot be worth anything. And then like, how are we going to survive? China's kind of taking over, China. And then with Biden kind of in office, we're in a communist, country and, different things like that. So when we say like America is doomed and we keep printing more money, with the fact that you're studying currency and you're studying other governments and other markets, have you ever studied the history of currency? And if America is doomed, what does that look like if our dollar keeps dropping?
Yeah, great question. For starters, yes, I have. And it's needed. Like you have to study the past to determine what's going to likely move forward in the future, right? History doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. So you want to pay attention to see what's going on with that, right? Secondly, what you're paying attention to and understand, for starters, now we're being told that the dollar, if it crashes, we're going to be like Venezuela. That's not happening. That's 100% not happening. Like at the end of the day, we're a superpower. Like financially, we're not doing that great when it comes to like, we are printing all this money, which is not good, for our dollar, but we're not going to be like Venezuela. So that right there is, that debate for some reason is becoming very strong, but it's just not happening. Now, besides that, the rate in which our dollar has been the world reserve currency, we're pretty much like, we're due to be replaced, right? And then a lot of things are a factor into it. You have gold is rising, so the rise of gold already, it shows you how low the value of the dollar currently is. And another thing, the pandemic sped everything up, right? So things that were going to happen within like the next 15, 20 years, it's now happening within our very eyes. So besides that, investors, and this is another thing, increase the speed of crypto. Investors, they're looking at the dollar is dropping. I need to put my money into something that's going to give me, more power, right? I need to hedge against it. That's the reason why, they put the money more towards the yen, which is a safe haven, gold is a safe haven, and also crypto, right? So Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the other cryptos, they created, ridiculous all-time highs, in 2020, and then later, obviously in 2021. But these things were going to happen in years to come. It just sped the process up. Now, again, when I think we're going to have our dollar replaced, I don't think that it's going to be like people are saying that if we get replaced, it's going to be like the euro and all that stuff. No, I think that at this point in time, people are angry that was going on, right? Because you go to the store, you go to the store in January, you buy chicken, it's like $13. You go back in a few months, it's like $15, right? People are getting angry because it's like normally we don't see inflation this fast, right? Yeah. It takes some time for it to happen, but people are getting angry about that. So people are just looking for different sources for them to actually put their money towards. And that's the reason why we have an increase of crypto.
Gotcha. So what's like Venezuela? You say we're not going to be like Venezuela. What do you mean by that?
No. So Venezuela, I mean, you can buy a loaf of bread for like $1 trillion bill, right? The hyperinflation is ridiculous out there, but we're not going to be like that. We're not. People think that we're going to be that poor. I don't see that happening. I do think that America, we are like a third world country. Well, second world country, we're just like who has just like luxurious items, but that's because of credit. I'm not going to get all depth into that.
Oh, yeah, that's a different game. yeah, I'm going to bring some credit people on here because I love the credit game when you actually 100%. Understand it, but you're right. We're going to say that for another podcast. Great. So you said that things are being sped up now.
Yeah.
And I think I read something, I don't know, like a month or two ago where it was saying how the economy was kind of going to crash here, but crypto is kind of saving us from it or something like that. And you just mentioned crypto and gold and how people are putting their money in there and then we have inflation. So what are your thoughts on crypto kind of saving us from that, I guess, that crash of our money?
Well, I don't fully agree that crypto saved us. I think crypto is just a different avenue in which you're able to get returns, right? It's another asset. And then on top of that, like, again, when I speak on things speeding up, like these things were going to happen, right? Like people going back into work in the office, they got comfortable with being home. So they realized like, I don't need to be in the office. And also business owners, they understood that as well, right? So it's like, why am I paying you X amount of dollars in which like I can get technology to do it for me, right? And that's the reason why we have a lot of jobs which are going to go more towards being replaced by robots, right? So it's not about this point because again, as a business owner, the goal of the business is to make money. So if you understand that, and it's like, what can I do to increase the overflow of, how can I decrease my overhead and increase the income coming in? You're going to have replaced employees with robots. So yeah, that's to fully answer it. Again, I don't think that crypto saved the economy. I think crypto was just another avenue that Americans put their money into to hedge against the dollar. Right. And that's the reason why like we have all this printing, and the reason for it, the printing messed us up. Crypto didn't save it. They're responding to the pandemic is what messed up our dollar or worse than our dollar.
Okay. I got you. So with crypto is another form of currency.
Correct.
Right. So with it being another form of currency, and I remember when I first heard about Bitcoin was like $200.
Yeah.
And I did not invest in it. I was I used to listen to the We Study Billionaires podcast, and Press and Pitch, and he would just be like they were just like, it's something new and we don't know because crypto doesn't have an intrinsic value like gold does, different things like that. And no one at that time, even still today, crypto is still new. Like people are making a lot of money off of crypto now. Because of that, but we hear that crypto has no intrinsic value. Like there's no original value to tie crypto to. So with that being said, like how would somebody measure or how can they create their own intrinsic value with crypto, and kind of get in that game? And what is the difference between cryptocurrency versus actual fiat currency?
All right. So for starters, I don't actually know how to create my own coin. So there's an answer for that right there. As of right now, I don't know how to do it. I do.
So is that what I just asked? Basically, is how you create your own coin?
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. I want to.
No. Like if you were to create your own intrinsic value, like you're like, this is what I believe that it's worth. And
okay, gotcha. All right. Okay, I thought you said create your own coin. I'm like, I don't know how to do that yet. But yes, at the end of the day, because we're the reserve currency, everything is based off of the dollar. So as of right now, I mean, if Bitcoin is $60,000, it's $6,000 per coin of a dollar. It's not $60,000 of like a won or a yen or a euro. So it's based off of a dollar. So that's something that people need to understand and pay attention to. Now you do have
that was good. Like you just taught me something.
Now you do have like at the time of recording, it's over 10,000 coins that's available, right? So a lot of coins are just like worthless, right? People are just making coins because they understand it. Like you make a coin, you get like influential people to talk about it. Obviously, the price is gonna go up. You get out of it, and like the coin drops. So it's based off of the actual need for the currency, right? Like Ethereum. Ethereum is heavily needed. Why? We have NFTs is increasing. They use the Ethereum blockchain. Majority of every other coin, or altcoin besides Bitcoin, uses Ethereum blockchain. So this is the reason why the price of Ethereum is increasing. So that's, if you actually want to determine like what's the value of it, it's really based off of like the need of it. And now the difference between literal fiat and cryptocurrency is that one is controlled by the government, one is not. So cryptocurrency is decentralized government. It's decentralized currency. So it pretty much means that no individual central bank actually or government can control it. So that's also another thing that get people more towards it, right? Because like you already know, like if you do a transaction, sometimes it takes like if you're wired, it can take like a day or two to hit your account, right? Or if you do Zelle, like these are things that has to go through a third party, right? With cryptocurrency, it's no longer the need for that, right? You can literally go from, if I want to send money from my Bitcoin to your Bitcoin wallet, I can send it. You can have it within minutes or most of an hour, right? So it's a way for us to get out of having the government be in our pockets. And that's also a reason why they're starting to change things up, because, I mean, you and I both know if you make $1, Uncle Sam wants his money from that. So it's like, so with crypto, it's not a way for you to, it's not the way for the government to have access to that money. However, once you sell it and you obviously transfer to your account, now they're trying to change things up in which, like, okay, if you sold crypto and you got gains from that, we want to tax you on that. So that's just a way of trying to, quote unquote, decentralize it. But I don't see that happening either, for them to fully decentralize it.
Gotcha. So is that one of the benefits why companies are allowing you to pay with crypto now, and they're allowing crypto ATMs to where it's not tracked, you can pull it out and then the government can't necessarily track it?
Right. But another thing as well, cryptocurrency is just another form of exchange of payment, right? Like at one point, cryptocurrency, it's the present, it's also the future, right? At one point, credit card was taboo, right? People weren't using credit cards, even online. Like you'd be a little iffy about putting your credit card info on a website. Now, if something says put your credit card info, you're doing it without even thinking about it, right? But at one point it was taboo and then became the norm, which obviously credit card is just digital currency, digital physical currency. But yeah, so going with that, crypto is just another form of payment.
Gotcha. Now, I've heard that some people, and I don't know if this is like a tactic, a trick or something that you guys use, but I hear that I saw something that someone used their credit card and they bought a bunch of crypto, but then I think when it went down, different things like that, they like lost a lot of money. So obviously I don't agree with that, but are there some tricks, tactics that someone can use, maybe like credit card, or you got the manufacturer spending, different things like that to leverage with crypto as well? Yeah,
100%. So
you got to give us at least like one trick.
Yeah, you definitely can. That is a little cheat code, but I mean, just like stocks, right? Like if you buy something at 10 and then it goes down to 5. If you don't sell it, you didn't actually lose money. Like you only lose money if you were to sell it. If you keep it, if you hold it goes up and it passes 10, it goes to 12. You obviously made a gain. Now, if you're trying to buy crypto, you can 100% use your credit card. Some exchanges allow you to do that, but again, with manufacturer spending, that's a little cheat code, right? So if you have to spend $2,000 within a certain time span, if you would like to go the crypto route, you can use the crypto route. The only thing is that like exchanges, they understand that, so they will just charge an extra, like a small fee, just for you to use your credit card. Just like other things would charge you a small fee to use your credit card as well.
Mm-hmm. So wait a minute, hold on, because I think I just processed the question that I asked, and I think it was like a pretty good question. Because I'm like, wait a minute, you just gave me an answer that I wasn't expecting, and it just taught me something. So what you're saying is, guys, so just quick cap, manufacturer spending, you get a credit card, and they said it will give you 50,000 points, aka $500, right? If you spend $2,000 in
like the first 3 months or something like that.
In the first 3 months. So what you're saying is that if I went, and guys, we're not advising you to do this. Gotta let you know up front. We're not advising
disclaimer.
You to do this. Disclaimer. Talk to your, I don't know, nearest financial advisor or whatever. But so what you're saying is that if you got a credit card, and some of these cryptos can allow you to spend that $2,000 that you're supposed to be spending in 3 months with your credit card. You can spend that $2,000 with crypto.
Yeah.
Or whatever, that $2,000, and then they'll give you that $500 back. So
this is how it works, right? So, yes, let me answer it fully. I want to make sure whoever's listening, they understand that. So, certain wallets, certain exchanges allow you to do so, right? So, like, let's say if you open up like crypto.com, for example, this is a perfect one. You go to crypto.com, right? You can open up your account. You can set everything up. You can literally, like, the first 30 days, you have 0 transaction fee. So listen, guys, the first thing you have 0 transaction fee. You can go to crypto.com. You can use your debit card if you want, 0 transaction fee. You can use your credit card, 0 transaction fee. The only thing is that with your credit card company actually, it puts a limit. They treat it as a cash advance. So it puts a limit on how much you're actually able to spend, but you can still do that. Like you can, if you want to buy Bitcoin, use your credit card because they're going to form a payment. Use your credit card. Once it goes through, you're good to go. Right. So now let's say if your credit card company says we'll give you 50,000 points if you spend $2,000 within the first 3 months. You won't be able to do it one transaction. There's 2,000, depending on your bank though, your purchasing power. But if you decide to like 500, you hit the 2,000. Right. So now you have that cryptocurrency. You're also going to be in $2,000 worth of debt now with your credit card. However, you did actually get your bonus, which is your 50,000 points. So you can do that. That's manufacturer spending 101.
Gotcha. And I'm glad you clarified that because I was gonna say, hey, you're still in debt now. Just be smart about it. Yeah. But that's an interesting play. Like you just gave game on that. So as y'all hear that this dude knows his stuff, right? Like he knows his stuff. Been doing it for over 5 years. So with that being said, you do have courses. I know you have a credit course. You have a currency trading course. So tell me about those courses. Like, what's the mentorship, and what can people expect if they're interested in it?
So for starters, everything is lifetime access, one-time payment, lifetime access. The main reason why, because everyone's schedule is different, right? So, and that also boils down to the monthly thing. I'm not going to charge you a month. Let's say your first 3 months, you just want to get at a good price. Your first 3 months, you're like doing so much, you really can't get into it. And then you're still paying a monthly fee. I didn't want that, right? So I just wanted, it's one-time payments, lifetime access. Now, what I do weekly coaching calls with my group. So what I do is just we go over the charts on Sundays, seeing what's going on, like certain plays for the upcoming week. And then on Wednesdays, we just review it, right? So we review how things play out so far, what we're looking more towards the end of the week, how we're going to end out, and also how's everything doing. Just like a little update, just like to give my mentorship to all of my students. On top of that, you have access to my Facebook group with each one. What else do you have? You have access to the entire content that I have, and I continuously upload information on that as well. And even with that, like you have an idea and understand how to actually trade the financial markets, right? Because the great thing about it is that once you can trade the Forex market, you can learn how to trade the stock market. You can learn how to trade the crypto market or the commodities market. Because when it comes to the market, being able how to read it, that goes across the board. The only difference is the rules that you can actually go about trading it. Right now, like with options or something, you're not able to trade options at a certain time span like you can with Forex. Right. And then also like the leverage is different. Like you obviously have high leverage with Forex. Forex is a leverage market. So those are the main things. But again, because I'm saying it because I do have some students who do options, right? They're not doing Forex, but they're doing options. But they utilize the information that's in the course and they go about trading options.
Gotcha. Awesome. And so with the mentorship, that they do have the ability to talk to you.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And get actual advice.
Right. I prioritize my students, and mainly because like I know how it feels to, let's say you purchase a course and no one's really there for you, right? It's like it's all smoke and mirrors, right? It sounds great and everything, but the actual person is not there for you, and I don't want that. So yeah, I'm 100% available for my students. And if I'm not currently available, there are also other experts who, some of my students who became, full-time day traders themselves, and they have no problem with answering certain questions. So if I'm not able to answer a question, someone else is there to it. So we do have a team of us, just there to just make sure everyone is doing what they have to do to move forward and have the resources available.
Gotcha. And what's the time commitment of the course? And then what's the time commitment if someone is interested in like Forex? Because I know you said it's not a 24/7 thing earlier.
No, it is 24. It's a 24/7 market.
Okay, well, not necessarily the market 24/7. I'm saying like your commitment to the actual trading.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, great question. So I personally feel that if you can dedicate minimum an hour a day to understanding how to read the markets, to understanding and working on your psychology, which is your mindset, you're going to be good. Like I like from the average standpoint, I have students who it took them about on average 2 months to really become profitable and understand how to actually manage the content and know how to read the markets and how to trade correctly to move forward to become profitable. Gotcha. But yeah, if you can't dedicate an hour a day, it's not for you.
Gotcha. So an hour a day, obviously more hours the better, right?
Right, 100%, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, great. And as far as Forex, because like I know in my practice we're going to mention like when it comes to people that want to set aside money, we're going to mention like IRAs, different things like SEP IRAs, different things that if people have their own business and whatnot. Are there any tax advantages or plays that someone can use with Forex? Can someone put Forex within an IRA?
Yes and no. So you're going to take your gains. At the end of the day, it boils down to your own gains. So there are ways in which I'm not going to go over now to you can, let's not say avoid certain stuff. Let's just say that. But again, I also, I teach you just how to go about reading it, because at the end of the day, and this is something that I teach, it doesn't matter how much money you make, if you don't know how to manage your money, you're going to be doomed. Yeah. Right. So again, I'm saying doomed, but I'm replacing that with, the word I want to actually say, which is FUCKED. But yeah, so, you can use your gains to get into IRA accounts or different type of tax advantage accounts. That's the route you want to take. So to answer your question fully, yeah, it depends on your gains to go about doing so.
Yeah, because I think that's what the problem with so many people is, that they'll get into, Forex and, going back to how we were saying these companies earlier where they don't necessarily have the mentorship, and people are like, yeah, I made all this money. And I'm just like, okay, you made the money, but okay, how you still got to worry about, because you're already focused on like market fluctuation, but you still got to work about Uncle Sam, and, things like that. And you still got to plan long term. Like,
you got to manage it, right?
You make quick money, but what are you going to do? Are you going to decide to stop trading in the future? You may actually want to do that. You're going to want to retire. And I think that's the millennial mindset, is that we want quick things, but a lot of us are still not planning. We don't have access to pensions and, different things like I'm going to say our grandparents, because most of our parents don't have pensions. Most of our grandparents, baby boomers. Which that's a whole nother story with all the money that's trickling down to us. if we're smart about it. So great. So we know that you do the then the mentorship and everything. I have one other question for you. So we got the taxes, planning, still being smart. Crap, can't remember it.
Well, I do want to say this, and this is another reason why I prioritize knowing how to manage your money. Because again, as I said, it doesn't matter how much money you make. If you don't know how to manage it, you're going to be broke, right? And this is why you do see people, they're making like six figures. However, they are broke, and the reason why, because it's how they manage their money, right? So some people, they prioritize materialistic things, which is nothing wrong with that. But what you want to do is you want to purchase assets, use those assets to allow you those gains to allow you to get those materialistic things. That's the best route to go about it.
Gotcha. Prioritize assets. Yeah, that's gold. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Hansome Kelly. I finally said it, Hansome Kelly. So thank you so much for coming to my podcast. Love to have you in the future because, there may be more questions. Get the course. I'll add your course below this video, or I'll have your Instagram tag. But what is the best way for people to reach out to you? Like, what are you most active on?
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, across the board. Everything is Hansome Kelly _. And it's one underscore. There's a lot of fake pages that I have of me. So it's literally HANSOMEKELLY, and then it's one underscore. So it's not two underscores. There's no period. Another thing as well is I'm not going to DM you, ask you how trading's going, unless you're like a personal student of mine. I'm not going to ask you for money. I'm not going to tell you I'm going to flip your account and everything. I'm not doing that. So if you do have someone who is pretending to be me actually do so, please just report them.
Gotcha. Okay. And again, if you're listening to this or watching it, it will be in the bio. So again, y'all, this is your girl, Coach Danny Renee. This is the Millennial Network Podcast. Remember, your network is your net worth, and we're out.